10 years ago.
I have to put the lights. Let me check. Lynn made it. Lynn made it just in time. Look at that. Hello there. Oh, now you're fine. Did you sign in, Lynn? All right. What's your last name? How's the grandbaby? Oh, I bet. All right, you got your gadgets, blacks, blanket, small bolster, big bolster, whichever one you like. Yeah, you may need some help. In yin yoga, we take all the help we can get. It's all good. All right, guys, welcome to Yin Yoga. We're gonna do a practice that's gonna cover a few body parts, neck, shoulders, hips, and we'll also soothe the mind. As we do the Yin Yoga, you always get an effect on your nervous system. So that's the side effect of Yin Yoga. We're gonna feel calmer, more peaceful, more connected, and also alert and clear in our mind. And we'll have great benefits for the weekend. So let's start sitting comfortably, whichever pose that may be for you. And we'll just simply take a nice stretch of the neck, just kind of getting any kinks out and shrug your shoulders. And maybe sway side to side to feel your spine and your shoulders. And then we come back to a comfortable sit where the body is with the spine erect, shoulders relaxed back and down. Let me take a moment to get into our bodies, closing the eyes, focusing internally. Starting to relax the body from the top of the head to the sides of the head, to the shoulders and arms, upper chest, rib cage, lower belly, relaxing the back of the body, between the shoulder blades, below the rib cage, low back. Allow your hips to relax, your thighs and your knees. Soften any edges, any action field areas, just let them subside, breathing gently into them. And as you exhale, let them all be released and relaxed. Setting the tone for the practice to create that deep connection between you and your own body, your heart with your soul, with your essence. You can benefit on all levels, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual. Making your intention for your practice today, whichever that may be, for well-being, health and happiness, freedom of movement, however that looks for you. And with the next breath, we'll start to create our first shape. So keep the legs crossed in front, and we'll bring the right hand underneath the right sit bones. And we'll lengthen the spine as we inhale. As we exhale, drop the left ear towards your left shoulder. Left hand can rest on the left knee. And after a while, maybe you want to stretch it over to the other side. Just notice if you need that support at first, stay on your left side. So creating a stretch on the right side of the neck. So maybe we feel the energy stretching the whole arm from the wrist to the shoulder, from the shoulder to the base of the neck, and up to the scalene muscles all the way into the base of the skull. So we're opening the pathway that connects the head, the brain, with the body, which is the neck. Every impulse, every transaction, every communication from the brain to the body has to go through the neck. So the neck is very important. It's like the highway to the body, but mostly to the brain, actually, because we get more information, more feedback from the body to the brain about 90% of the time, and only 10% the brain has to conduct impulses to the body. So, but it doesn't matter which direction it goes, it's still a very busy, important, vital highway. And we also activate the vagus nerve when we sit here. It's cranial nerve number 10, also called the wandering nerve, because it goes from the brain, the sides of the neck, into the body, into the internal organs. So it activates a lot of endocrinal type of hormonal activities or any internal activities of the heart, including the heart and the intestines, and all other organs internally. So it's a very big, long nerve and very important. It's also responsible for increasing the serotonin level in the brain and the dopamine level. And when the vagus is constricted and collapsed and not active, we get kind of low and depressed on energy. So it's really good to activate this nerve. Now let's create a little bit more stretch, dropping the chin towards the left shoulder, looking down and back, using your eye muscles for peripheral vision. So when I look back behind you, see how far you can see. Now we'll bring the head back a little bit right at the edge of the shoulder, and we'll dropping the chin down. And take a few more breaths here. See any sensation that arises. Make sure it's not super intense. You're gonna have a sensation, but don't make it sensational. And listen to the body, receive the feedback, accept the limitations, no judgment. And now that the body opens up in its own terms, in its own time, if you allow it, that's what we get to do in Yin Yoga. We become a friend to our body. We open up space, we create freedom, and we express gratitude for what happens. Inhale and gently come on up. And take a moment in the center. Just notice your body. Close your eyes. Maybe you feel your right side really long. You feel kind of crooked. So this tells you that it worked. So let's do the other side. Left hand under your left glutes. Drop the right ear towards the right shoulder. Just slightly. Keeping the spine tall, shoulder aligned with the hip bone and with the wrist. Your arm is active. And hand can rest on that right knee at first. Just see how it feels there for a few breaths. Deepening the breath, long, slow, deep inhalations. And long, extended, full exhalations to release the tension, to release the stress, any negative energy that doesn't belong in your body. And maybe you acknowledge differences between the two sides. And they will be different, most likely. That is normal, just because we tend to use the body unevenly. Because we can be mostly right-handed person, sometimes left-handed, very rarely ambidextrous. So we overuse one side of the body. We always walk out the bed with the right foot. We always pick things with the right hand, and it becomes overused over time. So notice those challenges. And maybe the side that's mostly used needs a little bit more work as well. And now let's bring the chin a little bit closer to the shoulder and the gaze back a little bit. So look back as far as you can. So your gaze is down and back, strengthening those muscles for peripheral vision. And now you can also notice you can breathe freely into the left side of the heart, the rib cage, the two lungs, two lobes of the lungs on that left side. Just being aware of the breath and being aware of the changes in the body. We also know that this kind of yoga also makes the body more alkaline. Usually we ingest a lot of acid foods and even drinks sometimes, and we get acid energies from people and environments as well, from pollution and environments that we may be in that are not very healthy. So those create a lot of acidity in the body. And this tends to Bring the balance back, making the alkalinity in the blood increase. Now bring the chin towards that right shoulder. And notice a different type of action going on. Just make it still gentle. And take a few more breaths. All right, and inhale, gently bring it back to center. Take a moment to feel both sides, releasing the shoulders with about 3-4 shoulder rolls. Just to make sure we're not holding on to any of that tension. All right, and let's stretch the legs out. For the next pose, we're gonna open the front of the neck. So we're gonna reach our hands back and we're dropping the head back. So our elbows can be bent. We can even rest on our bolster if we want. And just drop the head back to open the front of the neck. So look up and back. We're activating the throat chakra and we open up the thyroid and parathyroid. And we activate the thymus gland as well. Just let the weight of the head to create a stretch. Don't make it happen. Just let the gravity take it over. It's like a supported fish pose. Almost we're getting into the chest, rib cage, diaphragm slightly. You also get the kinks out of the shoulders because we're squeezing in a way the shoulders up, and that brings that tension out. So if it feels too intense, back off a little bit or get more support, maybe go on your hands and open a little bit less. See what feels natural and comfortable. And let's go ahead and inhale, press back up. The next pose is gonna be the reverse of that. We're gonna bring the feet together. Inbound angle, Baddha Konasana. I'm gonna reach the body forward, pressing the elbows in the inner thighs, and letting the body hang forward. So now the back of the neck gets to stretch comfortably. We're working here on opening the sides of the ankle on the outside, the inner thighs, the groin. The spleen meridian runs on the inside of the leg, so we activate that. And then so we also work with the kidneys and adrenals to have more ability to cope with stress. Cortisol gets released. And let that neck Lengthen as the heaviness of the head pulls it down. And this forward fold is also really inducive to going inward. It's an inward pose, a really in pose, because you're looking down and in, and you're almost in a circle in your spine. So you're just spiraling inside of yourself. And just find that space inside of you. And make that space your home. And with your thumb and index finger, you can put some pressure on the nail of your big toe from both sides, the nail bed and the foot, the back of the toe, and squeeze there. It's kind of like massaging your own head as you do that. And then take a squeeze right at the end of the big toe into the foot. It's almost your neck area right there. So we're massaging the neck indirectly, putting some pressure here. And let's go ahead and inhale, rise back up. We're going to extend the legs out with the knees bent. This time we're going to stretch the torso forward, lengthen over your thighs, and then pick up your feet in your hands. So you have a big bend in your knees, so you can actually touch your toes. And let your belly hang just right over your thighs, your chest. Your chin would be above your knees, below your knees, somewhere there. And if you feel you can let the hamstrings get a deeper stretch, you can release of the hands and slide those feet down more. And still want to have contact with your thighs. And let the head fall heavy naturally. Don't try to hold it upright or in any position. Just let it hang with gravity's pull. It will help create a natural back body stretch really from your heel to the crown of the head. It will be mostly beneficial for the lumbar vertebrae 4 and 5, and also for the sciatic nerve, all the nerve endings that come out of the spine, the sides of the neck. With a breath in, let's come on out of the pose gently. Take a moment to let the spine settle back. Just cross-legged for a couple of breaths. Reconnect with your breath. Just notice the changes in the upper body. Your body would be grateful that you are being so patient and so kind. And we'll gently move on to the next pose. We're going to come into a tabletop. We're going to stretch the hips back a little bit, almost like a half child's pose. I'm going to inhale, bring the right arm up. And then exhale, we're going to slide it under. Drop that right ear to the floor. And the arm stretches underneath. Left arm can go on the outside of the head with the fingertips pressing into the ground. And keeping those hips aligned over the knees. Don't let them sway to the left. Just really breathing and opening on the right side of the body, on the back side, and under the armpit on the left. Now we're going to press the left hand on the floor for better leverage. And we will extend the left leg out and up towards the right hand. So we're going to bring that big toe to be close to the fingers. And if they get really close, you can grab your big toe. So the left leg comes from behind you, comes over to the front and out and up. And you may not touch your hand today, that's okay. So we're activating the lymphatic flow on the left side of the groin and the whole meridian on the inside of the left leg for that spleen to be active and strong to process any material, stuff we ingest, or any emotions or anything that comes our way, we can process and get rid of like we should. Now, if you feel pretty stable here, only then you can add the left arm to go around the waist in the back. So we're opening the front of the left shoulder all the way into the collarbone, through the pecs, deltoid muscle. Nice. Breathe here in all these different diagonal lines of energy to activate the flow of chi throughout your body. So find a pose that feels convenient to you and just stay there, holding still and breathing gently. We always remember to apply the principles of Yin Yoga, finding the shape we want to be in, finding stillness in that shape, connecting with the breath, and letting the time take effect. The holding is the magic here. And bring the left hand back to the floor by your head and slide the left leg back and slightly over to the right. So create a C shape with this left side of the body, stretching from the ankle to the armpit, creating a banana shape. Let go of anything that comes your way that is not comfortable. Breathe it out. Any sensation, any emotions that arise, any blockages, you can help them through with the energy of the breath. As you breathe in, you energize and activate the area. As you breathe out, you release that tension and embedded stress. Inhale, bring the knee back into center. And come on back to a child's pose right in the center. Take a few breaths here before we do the other side. Inhale, walk up into your hands. Come back to that half child's pose. And inhale, bring the left arm up now. And exhale, slide it under the right. Drop that shoulder and left ear to the floor. And right hand can walk over to the left side of the head. Move that elbow up. Take your breaths here. Opening up the body on the back side on the left. Creating space between the shoulder blades and the spine. Breathing into that area where you hold a lot of tension and the emotion of grief gets stored in between the shoulder blades. So, even if we grieve for yesterday, it's still a grief. So we're gonna let that go, let that be released. Now let's place that right hand strongly onto the ground and extend the right leg out and up towards the left hand. One day they will touch and you can pick up your big toe in your hand and create these beautiful diagonal lines of energy that are going to activate your chi throughout the whole body. Right. See how that feels in your body, in the inner thigh, in that groin. Make sure the other knee is comfortable on your blanket maybe. Yeah. Stretching the outside of that right ankle, just getting all the benefits in through the whole body. If you find stability here and you feel safe, bring that top arm, your left arm up and over to the waist on the right side, towards the right side. And palm will be up at first, but over time, see if you want to turn the palm towards the body. This is going to shift the energy in that left shoulder. It's going to create a spiraling energy down the arm, opening more meridians. Yeah. Great job. Nice. Continue to breathe. Send the energy of the breath to the areas that feel more tense, more resistant, more stagnant. You will know. And as you breathe stronger and you bring your mind intention to those areas, they will open up and respond. And now let's release that top hand, bring it back to the floor. And we'll slide the right leg down and over to the left. Bring through that hip and the side body on the right side. So your right foot will be towards the left edge of the mat. Yeah. Great. And if you want more action in that left hip, you can slide your weight down towards your heel. So you're coming down over almost into a pigeon, but not quite. Three more connected breaths here. Letting this pose create some magic, opening up your right side. And inhale, come on back to center. We'll come onto the belly now for a Sphinx pose. We bring the elbows next to the body and they are right under our shoulder. So align the shoulder bone with the elbow. Palms pressing down into the floor. Hips pressing down into the floor. Lift the chest and get comfortable here with the head right on top of the spine, on top of the neck, with a slight downward gaze. Squeeze the inner thighs together, press the feet down, press the hips down, and keep lengthening the spine so you don't collapse in your back. This brings all the energy in the lower body, into the pelvic floor, and it works on L4, L5, That's why I want to keep that space. We don't want to feel contracted. So maybe walk your left foot out a bit, lengthening as much as you can, and then walk your right foot out, and then reassess the posture. So you're not collapsing your spine. Good. All right. And we are squeezing good energy into the kidneys and adrenals, activating them. And we're opening up the rib cage, of course. And the kidney is responsible, and the adrenals as well, for the emotion of fear. We hold our fears, our anxieties, our dreads into this area. So we're squeezing all that out. So take those long, meaningful exhalations to release whatever comes out that is fear-based out of your body. Becoming courageous, open, and free. And this is starting to open up our hip flexors as well. So it's a preliminary pose for the next pose. All right. And this is how we are patient with our bodies. And we see whatever comes up and we let it go. We observe the changes. We almost feel the energy coming in and out. All right, slowly we gotta release this. So walk the hands in a little bit. And walk the hands out to the edge of the mat, outside of the mat, okay? We're gonna bring the chest over to the left and sink down a little bit. So we're gonna stretch this left shoulder. We're gonna open and stretch it after that pose. And then inhale back in and exhale, lean to the right and drop down. One more time each side. Inhale, center. Exhale, sink and drop to the left, squeezing that tension out. Inhale back and exhale other side. Okay, bring it back in and stretch back to child's pose for a moment to release the lumbar spine. 3 breaths here. Your thighs are massaging your internal organs right now. Your pancreas, your intestines, transverse, ascending and descending colon. All right, and come to the knees. We're gonna bring the right leg out. So here we may need our blocks. Hands can be on the blocks here by the foot. The left knee is gonna be either on the blanket or fold your mat. You get your blanket underneath your left knee. All right, so we're gonna open the left side in the front. And right leg can walk out as far out as you want until you feel a good inner thigh stretch. And the left side is gonna get quadricep stretch, hip flexor, and psoas. So see if you need those blocks or not. Maybe you just need one and lay down on your hands or on your elbows. Maybe you're on the floor, whatever pose you can create here. So as work is very important, it's a great release of emotional luggage, especially on the left side. And we kind of started on the left. We could have started on the right to make it easier on us, but just get it out of the way, the hard way. Sometimes we just gotta face it and let it go. So let's just be here. And make sure your knee is comfortable, your foot can rest on the floor. That's gonna get more weight into the hip flexor. If it's too much on the hip flexor, then get your toes under. That kind of diminishes the stress, or walk your knee closer so you're lifted up more. So see what works there. I like my foot down because I like to feel that hip flexor opening. I see it a lot in my work, so it just gets compressed a lot. So I'm doing everything I can to open this area, to keep the hip active and with energy flowing. Otherwise, it gets too stagnant and then it's not gonna serve me anymore. If you want to play with the right foot a little bit too, you can bring it out to the side more and drop the weight into the edge of the foot to get more of that inner thigh effect, and stretch the outside of the right leg in the ankle and the lateral side of the shin into the knee, and it goes all the way into the hip. Actually, you can feel the action if you pay attention. So we just listen and feel here, see how the body feels, what feedback we get. We learn about how the body works and what we activate. And we're doing lots of great work. Let's take 2 more breaths. And inhale now, start to walk up into the hands, lift up, bring the right leg back. Take a moment in the center, maybe shake your hips side to side, move that energy around a little bit. Okay. And then we're keeping the right knee on the blanket and step the left foot out. And start small. See, maybe you need a block or 2. And as you sit there longer, you may find that you may not need them as much. And this side may be different. Acknowledge, allow, and accept. This front of this hip gets a chance to breathe and energize, taking on all this energy we're giving it right now through the quadriceps muscles, all the bands of the quadriceps, into the hip flexor, most constricted area in the body. And then traveling up through the psoas into the third thoracic vertebrae. And see if you would like to step the left foot out to the edge of the mat and sink into the edge of the foot. You can do that. If this cramps your foot, your leg is too stretched out, so bring it in a bit. So it's a lizard pose. We look like a lizard now. Learning from all these creatures. Make sure you get to a comfortable position, finding that ease, that comfort in the pose. You want to have it slightly on the edge, but before it's discomfort. Imagine yourself being able to jump like Hanuman with the big splits, jumping from the edge of a rock to another. Just bring that image in your mind so you kind of allow those hips to mimic that. No matter how you looks, you can make it different in your imaginary mind. Last 2 breaths. Send this energy wherever is needed most. And let the exhalation take out any residue from that hip flexor or inner thigh. And as you inhale, start to back out of the pose. Come to a child's pose real quick, just for a few breaths before we do the final pose. So sink the hips back and let the head fall to the ground. Just really getting into your inner self again, connecting with the Ajna chakra between the eyebrows. And being grateful for Mother Earth, like bowing to the earth. And now we'll slowly transition to the last pose. It's a chest opening pose. And we'll stay in that till the end, or you can choose to let go of that and do some simple shavasana after a while. So bring your big bolster. And we're gonna put a bolster right behind our hips. We're gonna sit in front of the bolster and then lay back on the bolster. So it's gonna be a great chest opening. If we do need some help on the side for the elbows, get those 2 blocks under the elbows, or let the arms hang down towards the body more at first. And then with time, when the chest and pecs open more, you can lift them up more to a shoulder height position. But you can start really low to kind of make sure you get that release before you overdo anything. But the legs can be crossed at first or feet together in bound angle. Just to open that groin one more time. Just for a few breaths, and then you can lengthen them when you are ready. Or you can keep them here longer if it feels good. We also can stretch the arms overhead with the palms on top of each other above the head. This will also open our pecs and axillary area. So you may do that pose as well. So you get a few choices here. Just really breathe into the front body here. It's for the chest, for the rib cage, for our anxieties, our stressors, our fears that we hold in the middle of the chest. We get to breathe through all of that. And we also breathe into all the internal organs below the rib cage, so they can get activated and have that perfect flow and balance. And let's practice the square breath here. We're going to inhale for 4 counts. Pause for 4. Exhale for 4. And pause for 4. So you can continue with this breath. As we have those poses, basically they are alkalizing the body. So they're great for the homeostasis in the body system. And it has a calming effect on the heart and a soothing effect on the brain. Now to relax the groin. Now if you had your knees out to the side, bring the feet to the edge of the mat and bring the knees together to counteract the effect. And to sink the energy back down into the pelvis. And we're gonna focus on breathing into the lower belly now. Right below the navel, imagine the breath traveling into the pranic center, the hara, when the chi gets stored below the navel point. Breathe intentionally into this area, storing some energy, some vibrant chi for later use. Now bring the right hand to the belly. And we're gonna spin this chi, circling around with our right hand and to the left. So you start from the right, going to the left in clockwise direction. Store and nourish that chi, nurture that chi in your belly. Spiraling inward so you can store it deep inside. This is very healing and soothing for the sexual organs in this area. So you can do this practice to balance your second chakra. And that is your relational center. And then we will bring the attention to the heart center and take a few meaningful breaths, resting our right hand onto the center of the chest towards the heart. And breathe here with intention, with loving kindness and compassion from you to you. Healing and mending our hearts, it's a daily practice. If we don't strengthen our energy and our chi doesn't flow right, we are easily vulnerable and easily hurt. So we need to come back to the strength of our core and to the loving kindness of the heart, tuning them in, bringing the energy from the core into the heart, and bringing the loving kindness from the heart to the core, nourishing and nurturing each other. Now we're going to connect into the throat center, bringing some new energy and breaths into the throat chakra for communication and speech. Where we can communicate calmly and speak our truth. So you can bring your hand onto the thyroid gland and thymus gland. And next, we're going to imprint this new energy into the Ajna chakra between the eyebrows, imprinting the index and the middle finger into the eyebrows, pressing there gently. And breathing in intentionally into this inspiration, intuition point, concentration. We can imprint anything we want that is positive and good into our mind. Through this gentle touch of the fingers, we imprint health, happiness, and joy, satisfaction, well-being, whatever else you want to add. Store it, code it into your brain right now. Release both hands to the side and feel your whole body balanced, relaxed, energized, in homeostasis, where everything happens like it's supposed to happen in our bodies, minds, and spirits in perfect balance and harmony. And we slowly transition to our right side where we feel ready. And gently come on off to the side and to a sit. Take this moment to notice our bodies and our new energy, connecting our two hands at the center of the heart. And we're sharing our light and goodness with each other and with the world. Namaste. All right, kind people, have a good weekend.